Hello everyone, and welcome back to the island of the Lizard King. When we last left off, we have just successfully navigated the river on the raft that we found, dispatched of some creatures, and also disposed of some of the guards, the Lizardmen guards, that were posted near the mud huts where the slaves presumably sleep. And so we have kind of sort of liberated the slave camp, but of course all the slaves are inside the mine working away because it's daytime. And I think it is time for us to enter the mines, find the slaves and free them. And with that we would be done with one half of our quest, of our adventure, our mission. So let's see where we are at. We are pretty bruised up. We have 13 stamina points, but so far so okay-ish. Everything else looks great, so let's see what happens now. We step carefully inside the mine, keeping close to the wall. The tunnel is lit by torches which cast eerie shadows all around. We sense that we are walking downhill and soon arrive at a junction. Now I'm 100% sure that this is going to be a sort of a labyrinth, so in order to get some to get our bearings, to keep our bearings, let us talk about cardinal directions. So we are going to assume that we came from the east directly. It's not necessarily the truth, but it helps us orientate ourselves. And we could go turn right towards the north or turn left towards the south. Let's turn first towards the north. Again, the tunnel splits at a junction. Alright, let's turn towards the left, so westwards. Let's see where we are. The tunnel narrows and we have to stoop because of the low ceiling. We appear to be in a disused part of the mine. Alright, we could actually turn back or carry on. There is nothing hinting that we should turn back, so let's proceed. Let's carry on walking down this tunnel. We soon arrive at yet another junction. Alright, so we were facing west. Let's face north now. The tunnel is now very narrow and the beams supporting the roof are cracked and dislodged in places. We feel very claustrophobic in the dim light, but we press on, often being showered with dust and small stones. Alright, that's creepy but nothing immediately dangerous. We do not see a rock on the floor and stumble over it. Now we must test our luck, but our luck is at maximum, so we are guaranteed to succeed. We fall on the floor, but do not injure ourselves. We stand up, but do not get much further as the tunnel comes to a dead end. We have no option but to return to the last junction. Alright, so it turns out that our path towards the north, at least around this part, is blocked, so let's get back. At this junction we may continue straight, that is to the south, or turn left to the east, but that's where we came from, so we still want to investigate this part of the mines, of this underground labyrinth, so maze, so let's continue straight on. The tunnel is now very narrow and the beams supporting the roof are cracked and dislodged in places. We literally just read the same sentence but in another area of the maze. And yeah, we feel very claustrophobic in the dim light, but we press on, often being showered with dust and small stones. That's literally the identical text, an identical text. But now the tunnel ends again at another junction. We have the option to turn back. We don't want to do that. We can turn right or left. So if we turn right, that would be westwards, and if we turn left, that would be eastwards. Let's check out first. This cannot be very long because we came from the east roughly, so so hopefully this is a dead end with something inside. The tunnel comes to a dead end quite suddenly. Alright, I was right. And we begin to worry that we may get lost. No, I don't feel lost yet. We lose one luck point. Alright, we turn around and walk back to the previous junction. That's not great. We have a luck level at 11, so that's not optimal. Now we could turn right, that's the way we came from, but we still haven't investigated the final shaft, which is straight on, so towards the west. Let's do just that. The tunnel makes a sharp right turn, continuing on as far as we can see. As we start to walk down it, we are suddenly stopped in our tracks by the sound of rumbling above us. A beam cracks and suddenly the whole ceiling comes crashing down on top of us. Alright, we lose 5 stamina points. Wow, okay. So we're down to 1/3 of our health. This is getting quite precarious, but I don't want to use our potion of strength yet. I don't think... I mean, we still would survive another misadventure like this. So let's hold off on that and let's say that we are still alive, which is the truth. And we must test our luck. We have a 1 in 30... 1 or 32 chance of failing, so we are going to succeed. We managed to crawl out backwards from underneath the rubble. Lying amidst all the rocks and stones is a small wooden box. We prise the lock open with our sword and shout for joy when we see what is lying inside. Alright, it seems that it might have been worth it. All these trials and tribulations and stamina loss and luck rolls. It is a hunting horn, but the runes carved on it tell us that it is no ordinary horn. It is the legendary Horn of Valhalla. When blown, it will fill its player and all his friends who can hear it with strength and courage. We gain 2 luck points, which is great because we're back to maximum, so our next roll is guaranteed to succeed, and the one after that is very highly likely to succeed as well, so we're good. And of course this Horn of Valhalla sounds like a great artifact to take along with us. So, yep, it's even on the top of our list. The iron keys might come in handy. We picked up the iron keys from the Lizardmen guards, so I guess they're for the shackles or cells or whatever for the slaves. We sling the horn round our neck and walk back to the last junction. Alright, so now we were facing to the west, so we turned back, so we're going eastwards. If we head straight on, that's was where we lost the lock point for no real reason, so we are going to exit this, but I think we have investigated this part of the mine shafts completely, so let's turn left, that is to the north. We are soon back at another junction, right? If we want to get out of here, we must turn right to the east. The tunnel gradually widens and our feeling of claustrophobia recedes. Before long we are back at a T-junction. That's right, this is the second T-junction we were at when we entered the junction. If you recall, we first turned to the north and then to the west, and when we turned to the west was at this point. So if we turned right, we would go towards the south. However, let's finish exploring the northern part of this mine maze first. So we're going to turn left towards the north. We see a handcart with wooden wheels lying on its side in the middle of the tunnel, blocking our way. A short broken skeletal body, perhaps that of a dwarf, lies beside it. A round borehole opens out into the tunnel and we wonder whether a rock grub might have attacked the unfortunate dwarf. The tunnel continues on as far as we can see, although there is no sign of life ahead. Alright? So exactly, that's a relatively good guess. Probably a rock grub attacked this poor dwarf and caused this part of the mine to be disused. We have the option to go into the borehole, but we are not going to do that. Rock grubs are pretty ferocious and there is nothing for us there, to be honest. It's not like they're hiding treasure or anything. But whatever is beyond this cart might be of use for us. Maybe some tools or material that the slaves and the lizardmen did not pick up. So we are actually going to not crawl down the borehole, but climb over the cart and continue down the tunnel. I don't foresee us being in any immediate danger. Worst case scenario, the rock grub attacks us. That's not great, but hopefully that won't happen again. The tunnel comes to an end at a junction where we could turn right, so towards the east, or left towards the west. Let's turn east for now. We can no longer go north at least at this point, so hopefully this is we are close to the end of the northern half of this mine. The floor of the tunnel is strewn with rocks the size of coconuts. They are all surprisingly smooth. Some appear to move slightly, but we suspect that it must be the dim light playing tricks on our eyes. And you know what? I would be more careful than that. Even if it's the light, then we still should be prepared for all eventualities, because suddenly one uncurls and shoots forward on tiny legs towards us, and we feel a sharp pain in our leg, as though teeth are tearing at our flesh. We lose 1 stamina point. Alright, we're down to 7 stamina, so progressively getting weaker and closer to death, but we still live. We realize with horror that we are surrounded by granites, vicious armadillo-like man-eaters. Oh goody, I was wondering what else we might find in this wonderful little dungeon. But anyway, I don't think they're that dangerous, not that we are strong. So let's see what happens, but before we fight them, I might drink the potion of strength. Now, we have been bitten by a rattlesnake. It's even listed as amongst our other items that we have a rattlesnake bite, so we must choose this option. The granite suddenly releases its grip on our shin and drops to the ground. We give it a hefty kick and watch it roll down the tunnel. The residual rattlesnake poison in our system has killed it. Alright, that's actually pretty neat. We had enough rattlesnake poison in our blood to kill this creature that just bit us on the leg. And don't forget that the snake bit us on our arm. And apparently it's not harming us at all. I mean the poison itself, so that's pretty strange. But anyway, the other granites sense what has happened and retreat into the shadowy recesses of the tunnel wall. Alright, that's actually great, which this all means that that we have basically defeated these creatures and didn't need to do anything at all, didn't cost us anything. Well, we suffered 1 stamina point loss, but I think that was inevitable if we come here. And we possess a pouch of unlimited contents, so we decide to put a granite in the pouch, hoping that it might be a useful decoy for us later. I don't know how that could be of any use later, but again, this pouch can theoretically contain, as its name says, unlimited items and weights, so why not take any random item with us? We poke around the wall and prize one away and drop it into the pouch. Walking on down the tunnel, we finally arrive at a dead end. Alright, so this was kind of futile coming here. We picked up a granite for 1 stamina point. That's not a very advantageous trade. We have no option but to turn around and walk back to the last junction. Alright. Back at the junction we may turn left, so now if you recall we came to the east, we turn back, so we are facing west now, and if we turn left we are going to go south back towards the entrance. We don't want to do that, we want to continue straight along the tunnel, which would mean that we are going to presumably arrive at the northwestern corner of this maze, so let's do just that. This section of the tunnel looks as if it has been disused for a long time, alright? The beams supporting the ceiling are cracked and look unsafe. I really hope we are not going to have another cave-in on the top of us. We arrive at the edge of a vertical downward shaft, not far beyond which the tunnel ends. There is no ladder running down its side for us to descend. Okay, so it seems like we've hit another dead end, but at least we are not in any immediate danger. And we are wearing red leather boots. If you recall, we are wearing those boots that we picked up from the from the bottom of the lake. So let's see what use these are for us. Although a thought suddenly crosses our mind that perhaps the boots we are wearing might be enchanted. Okay, I don't know why we haven't thought about this sooner. We put our foot up against the wall and try to walk up it. Sure enough, it works. Wow, alright, that's pretty neat. We are wearing a magical pair of boots of climbing. We gain 1 luck point, and that's also great because our luck is... I think it was already back to maximum, but that's still good. We climb down the wall and somewhat apprehensively step over to the edge of the shaft. It feels very strange to be walking vertically down the wall like a fly. The shaft is deep, but we eventually reach the bottom. It is almost totally dark. We feel our way along the wall, but cannot find another tunnel leading off the abandoned shaft. Alright, so it seems that all of these is wandering about was for nothing. Not that it cost us anything, but you know, it's kind of useless. We are about to step back up to the side of the shaft when our foot comes into contact with something. We bend down and feel the blade of a sword. We step back up to the tunnel above to examine our discovery. I don't know why we do that. It's not like there is much light, more light up there than down here, I guess. In the yellow light of the torch, oh, sorry, I stand corrected, there is. In the yellow light of the torches, we admire the superbly crafted sword we are holding. We gain 2 skill points. We throw our old sword down the shaft and walk back to the junction. Wow, that was a real find. And for some reason, we didn't cross out the sword from the our equipment list. We have a well-crafted sword now, which means that we have a skill of 12, which is awesome. This cannot really I cannot emphasize enough how awesome it is. And I'm kind of all our stats are okay except for our stamina stat. I'm going to drink the potion of strength now, so we are back to full stats, which looks awesome. 24 stamina points, 12 skill and 12 luck points, and suddenly our chances of succeeding in our mission have grown or have improved dramatically. Alright, let's go back to the junction. At the junction we may either continue straight on or turn right. If we continue straight on, that's where the granites are, and if I know this dungeon, they're gonna attack us again, so we don't want to do that. There is nothing there for us. So let's turn right towards the south and go back towards the entrance. I think we have cleared out totally the northern half of this dungeon. Sorry, it's not a dungeon, it's a mine maze, mine labyrinth, except for the rock grab borehole, which we are not going to touch. So let's get back until the entrance. We arrive back at the borehole where the unfortunate dwarf still lies beside his handcart. Now we could still climb into the borehole, but we are not going to do that. Let's walk past it. As we walk down the main tunnel, we pass a branch to our right and the entrance tunnel on our left. Right, we have examined that branch to our right. That's where we found the Horn of Valhalla. We come to the edge of a vertical downward shaft, to the side of which is secured a wooden ladder. Alright, civilization, signs of civilization. We look down the shaft, and although we cannot see the bottom, we decide to climb down. That's a good idea. The slaves were nowhere to be seen to the north, so they must be in this direction, generally at least. Stepping carefully down the ladder, we eventually reach the bottom of the shaft. In the dim light, we see a new tunnel from which we hear the faint sounds of singing. Alright? As we walk down the tunnel, the singing grows louder, and we also hear the sound of stone being hammered. Alright, so it seems that we are probably getting closer to the miners, the slave miners, which is our goal and objective and purpose, so we are definitely on the right track, unless this is a trap. Let's hope not. Suddenly we hear footsteps behind us. Alright, I don't know where they could have come from. We've cleared out the Mudhead village or something, and all the mine, so I don't know how anything could have snuck up behind us, but we could turn and face whoever is approaching, or we could hide in the shadows. I say let's hide in the shadows. If it's somebody we want to face, we could still, you know, just walk out of the shadows. So hiding it gives us an extra chance to act. We crouch down in the darkest recess we can find in the wall. Alright, that's a good idea. The footsteps draw nearer, and then we see a lizard man carrying an iron pail. It walks past without noticing us, complaining to itself about the weight of the pail. We follow it down the tunnel at a safe distance. Alright, that's worked out so far so good. So I imagined it's carrying its whatever it is carrying to the slaves and maybe the other lizard man. So this is actually okay. We could follow it, and we are following it, so that's good enough. And now we have a question if we have drunk a potion of clumsiness, but fortunately we haven't. It doesn't sound like a good liquid to have drunk, so we haven't. We stumble over a stone on the floor, but manage to stop ourselves from falling over and making any noise. We gain 1 luck point. Alright, our luck was already at maximum, but whatever. We breathe a sigh of relief and continue to follow the lizard man. Alright, that's great. So it will lead us somewhere for sure, because it is going somewhere. The noise of singing voices and iron hitting rock is quite loud. We must be close to where the slaves are working. That's great. We decide to run quietly up behind the lizard man and deal with it. That's also a good idea. It has led us to where we wanted to come anyway. Now it's of no further use for us, and if we can dispose of him without having to fight him, that would be a great advantage. We pick up a large stone and run forward. The lizardman hears us, but too late to stop us from bringing the stone down hard on the back of its head. Alright, we are pretty awesome like that. As it crashes to the floor, we catch its pail, thinking it might contain much needed water for the thirsty slaves. We don't know how many slaves there are, but they must be thirsty. We walk on until the tunnel opens out into a chamber. Alright, so it seems that we have disposed of another lizard man, and if you recall, we have killed already 3 of them, and we only had to fight 1, so that's so far so awesome. Let's see if we found the slaves finally. What we see inside the chamber fills us with rage. 6 dwarves, stripped to the waist and chained together like animals, are toiling with hammers at a rock face. An armored lizardman urges them to work faster, occasionally lashing one of them across the back with its bullwhip. We put the pail down and run forward to attack the lizardman. Alright, forward ones, we see all 6 dwarves. They're truly... well, they are slaves. I thought there were only humans here, so we have only ever seen or heard of escaped human slaves. But now I think it's time to do some good. I don't know what this random bat is doing here, but it's time to do some good and kill the lizard man. Alright, it has a skill level of 7, we have a skill level of 12 now, so we outskill it by 5, and we are guaranteed to win the first round. We would have won anyway. So, I don't think it's going to be a difficult fight. Nope. Okay, this combat has lasted long enough. Let's see. We are still alive after 2. We didn't even need to hit it twice, we just had to be alive after 2 attack rounds, which is very easy because the first one was guaranteed to succeed. The dwarfs, suddenly encouraged by the possibility of freedom, turned to help us slay the guard with their hammers. That was not needed. I would have taken care of him in just a matter of seconds, I guess. The lizard man falls to the ground under a barrage of blows, and the dwarfs begin to cheer. They smash open their shackles and gather round to thank us and to quench their thirst with the water in the pail. Alright, so we were right about the water in the pail, and we somehow didn't need the keys that we picked up from the lizard man earlier on. We tell them of our quest to kill the Lizard King, and they all offer to help. We ask them where the other prisoners are, and we hear that they are working in other chambers deeper in the mine. We tell the dwarfs to lead us there as quickly as possible. Okay, we are going finally on our rescue mission. So we have rescued 6 dwarves already, and we are going to rescue some more creatures. That sounds great. Taking the lizardman's cloak to disguise ourselves, we form the dwarfs into a line, so that it appears that we are a guard in charge of a chain gang of slaves. We crack the whip with a smile and set off down the tunnel. We follow the dwarfs down endless tunnels, deeper and deeper into the mine. As we pass by another tunnel branch, we see a lizardman walking along it towards us. And we need to perform a rock roll, presumably, to see if we get caught, but we are guaranteed to succeed. The approaching lizardman is not suspicious of us and our gang of dwarfs, and we pass by without any trouble. Alright? The dwarfs walk quickly through the tunnels, their knowledge of the complex network acquired through months of slavery. They finally come to a halt, and one of them whispers to us that another group of prisoners is working around the next bend. We hear the dull sounds of picks and hammers hitting rock, and tell the dwarves that they should walk on, and that we will signal to them the moment they should attack the prisoners' guards. They walk around the bend, and we see a group of men and elves chained together working at a rock face. Alright, so it's not only dwarves and humans, but also elves toiling away here for the Lizard King. 2 orc guards are yelling at them to work faster, which is also interesting because I presume that the only creatures under his command are lizardmen and, you know, mutant lizards and assorted creatures, not orcs. But I guess these evil creatures sign up for any disgusting work. They look surprised to see us, but do not see through our disguise until we are almost alongside them. They scream a battle cry and draw their swords. Alright, we have 12 luck, so we are guaranteed to succeed. The dwarfs attack the orcs, spurred on by their hatred. The fight is soon over, the orcs being no match for the embittered dwarfs. That's right, 6 dwarfs plus us, and presumably also the slaves that were toiling there. The elves and men cheer when the second orc is slain. The dwarfs break their chains, and now we have 14 friends to help us finish our quest. We are getting stronger by the moment. I like this. One of them is from Oyster Bay, and despite his joy at the prospect of freedom, he's saddened by the news of Mungo's death. Alright? I'm sad too about him, but at the very least we are liberating people, including ones that were kidnapped, were never convicts here in this prison colony. Armed with their own tools of slavery, the prisoners ask us to lead them to attack the stone fort, used as the prison camp, where the Lizard King still resides, protected by his mutant slaves and elite guards. Okay? We agree to do so and set off again through the tunnels to release the rest of the slave miners. I don't know what kind of army this Lizard King might have. I don't think it's that dangerous or formidable, but we definitely should have an army of our own. So let's liberate the rest of the slave miners. We need to roll 1 die for whatever reason, and we rolled a 4. What happens? By the time we have found all the prisoners and released them, we have lost 2 stamina points in battle. Okay, so we got hit once, presumably. We're down to 22, that's fine. We are still alive, but are now the leader of 63 dedicated followers, eager for revenge. So it's a little army of 64 creatures that need to take on the Lizard King's fort. Let's see what happens now. Alright, so we lead our band of fighters out of the mines and attack attack the mud huts where the guards live. But before we do that, I think I'm going to make the cut of the video right here, and we are going to take care of this section the next time. Let's catch our breath at the mine entrance with our 63 followers, and let's take care of this battle in the next episode. I thank you all for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time once we have joined forces with these freed slaves. We are going to take the battle to the Lizard King himself, hopefully. Bye bye.